Good morning, students. Today I will teach you the next part, the second part of chapter number 6 of your supplementary reader book. As you know, the name of the chapter is The Fight. So, see the second part of this chapter. Open your book at page number 49 and concentrate your mind here. When Razi got home, he found it difficult to explain the cuts and bruises that showed on his face, leg and arms. Students, when Razi reached home, then it was very difficult for him to explain about the marks of cuts and wounds on his face, legs and arms. It was difficult to conceal the fact that he had been in an unusually violent fight. And it was also difficult to conceal the fact that he was in an unusually violent fight. And that's why his mother insisted on his staying at home for the rest of the day, and that's why his mother forced him to stay at home for the rest of the day, for whole day. That evening, though, he slipped out of the house and went to the bazaar. But on that evening, Razi left the house without being noticed, and he went to the bazaar, where he found comfort and solace in a bottle of vividly colored lemonade and a banana leaf full of hot sweet jalebis. He went to the market that evening, and he felt he found comfort in a bottle of brightly colored lemon drink and a banana leaf which was full of hot and sweet jalebis. Means he went to the market and he drank the lemon drink and he ate the sweet hot jalebis. He had just finished the lemonade when he saw his adversary coming down the road, and as he was about to finish the lemon drink, at that time he saw that his opponent, the stranger, was coming down the road. His first impulse was to turn away and look elsewhere. First, he thought it was a sudden desire of Razi that he should turn away and look anywhere. But his second desire was to throw the lemon drink bottle at his enemy. Firstly, he thought to turn away and look elsewhere, but his second desire, strong desire, was to throw the lemon drink bottle at his opponent. But he did neither of these things. But he did not do anything. Neither he threw the bottle of the lemon drink, and nor he turned away and looked elsewhere. He stood his ground and scowled at his passing adversary. He stood there on the ground and scowled, looked angrily at his passing opponent, at his passing enemy. And the warrior said nothing either, but scowled back with equal ferocity. And the warrior and the opponent, he did not say a word, but he also looked angrily with the equal fierceness at Razi. Means both of them looked angrily towards each other. The next day was as hot as previous one. The next day, on which day, it was decided that the fight would be on that day. It was as hot as the previous day. Razi felt weak and lazy and not at all eager for a fight. On that day, the next day, Razi was feeling weak and he was also feeling lazy, and he was not at least eager for the fight. His body was stiff and sore after the previous day's encounter. Rarzi's body was stiff. His body was very firm. It was not easy to move his body, and he was feeling ache after the previous day's fight, but he could not refuse the challenge. He was not willing for the fighting, but he could not refuse the challenge. Not to turn up at the pool would be an acknowledgement of defeat. He thought that if he did not reach at the pool, it means it would be an acceptance of defeat. From the way he felt just then, he knew he would be beaten in another fight. And in the way which he was feeling, he knew that he would be beaten in that fight. Means he was not willing for the fighting. He did not want to fight. And the way which he was feeling, he knew it very well that he would be beaten in the fight. But he could not acquiesce in his own defeat. But he could not accept quietly his defeat. He did not want to accept quietly his own defeat. He must defy his enemy to the last or outwit him, for only then could he gain his respect. He thought that he must oppose his enemy to the last, or he should beat him by trick, and only after that he could get his respect. If he surrendered now, he would be beaten for all time. He thought that if he surrendered just this time, at this time, he would be beaten for all the time. But to fight and be beaten today left him free to fight and be beaten again. He thought that if he surrenders today, he will be beaten for all the time. But to fight and to be beaten today, it would leave him free to fight and be beaten again. Means he thought that he should go at the pool for the fighting. He should not accept his own defeat himself. As long as he fought, he had a right to the pool in the forest. And he also thought that as long as he fought, he had a right to the pool in the forest. He was half hoping that the warrior would have forgotten the challenge. When he was moving towards the forest, he was half thinking that his opponent, the warrior, would have forgotten the challenge. But these hopes were dashed when he saw his opponent sitting stripped to the waist on a rock on the other side of the pool. But when he saw his opponents sitting on a rock on the other side of the pool without clothes to the waist, at that time his all hopes were broken. The warrior was rubbing oil on his body. He saw that his opponent was rubbing oil on his body. He saw Rarzi beneath the sal tree and called a challenge across the waters of the pool. And when he saw Rarzi beneath the sal tree, then he challenged him across the water of the pool. "Come over on this side and fight," he shouted. The warrior shouted, "Come over on this side and start fighting." But Rarzi was not going to submit to any condition laid down by his opponent. But Rarzi was not going to accept any condition given by his opponent. "Come this side and fight," he shouted back with equal vigor. Again, the warrior shouted that, "Come this side and fight." "Swim across and fight me here," called the other, "or perhaps you cannot swim the length of this pool." Then Rarzi replied, "Called that, swim across and fight me here, or perhaps you are unable to swim the length of this pool." But Rarzi could have swum the length of the pool a dozen times without tiring, and here he would show the warrior his superiority. Rarji could have swum the length of the pool many times, a dozen times, without being tired, and here he would show his worthiness, he would show his superiority to his warrior. So, slipping out his vest, he dived straight into the water, cutting through it like a knife and surfaced with hardly a splash. The warrior's mouth hung open in amazement. So he put off his vest and he dived. He dived straight into the water and he cut the water like a knife and without making any sound by water, without any sound by water, he came to the surface. And when the warrior saw this, his mouth hung open in surprise, in wonder. "You can dive?" he exclaimed. The warrior exclaimed that, "You know how to swim, how to dive?" "It is easy," said Rarji, treading water. Rarji was moving in the water and he said that it is very easy task, waiting for a further challenge. "Cannot you dive?" And he again asked that, "You don't know how to dive? How to dive?" "No," said the other, "I jumped straight in, but if you will tell me how, I will make a dive." The warrior said that no, he did not know how to dive, but if he teaches me, then he will make a dive. "It is easy," said Rarji. "Stand on the rock, stretch your arms out and allow your head to displace your feet." Rarji said that it is very easy task. You should stand on the rock, stretch your arms outside and allow your head to remove your feet. The warrior stood up stiff and straight, stretched out his arms and threw himself into the water. As Rarji said, the warrior stood up, he was straight and stiff and he stretched out his arms, and after that he threw himself into the water. He landed flat on his belly with a crash that sent the birds screaming out of the trees. And when he did so, he landed flat. He fell down flatly on his belly, on his stomach, and due to falling, there was a sudden loud noise, and that noise sent the birds screaming out of the tree. Means when the birds heard the sudden loud noise, at that time they flew from the trees. Rarji dissolves into laughter, and at that time Rarji could not control his laughing. "Are you trying to empty the pool?" he asked as the warrior came to the surface, spouting water like a small well. As the warrior came to the surface, throwing water like a small well, then Rarji asked that, was he trying to empty the pool? "Was not it good?" asked the boy, evidently proud of his feat. The warrior asked that, what is not good? And at last he was feeling proud at his special act. "Not very good," said Rarji. Rarji replied that no, it was not too good. "You should have more practice. See, I will do it again." He said that you should have more and more practice. "Just see, I will do it again." And pulling himself upon a rock, he executed another perfect dive. And after that, he stood on a rock and he carried out another perfect dive. The other boy waited for him to come up, but swimming under water, Rarji circled him and came upon him from behind. The warrior was waiting for him to come up, but Rarji was swimming under water, and he circled the warrior and came upon him from behind. when he dived. When Rarji dived, the warrior was waiting for him to come up. But Rarji was swimming underwater and he circled the warrior, and after that he came upon him from behind. How did you do that? Asked the astonished youth. The surprised warrior asked that how did you do that? Cannot you swim underwater? Asked Rarji. Then Rarji asked, are you not able to swim underwater? No, but I will try it. The warrior replied that no, he did not know, but he will try. The warrior made a tremendous effort to plunge to the bottom of the pool, and indeed he thought he had gone right down, though his bottom, like a duck's, remained above surface. The warrior made a great effort to jump, to plunge to the bottom of the pool, and indeed he thought that he had gone right down, though his bottom means the lowest part of his body, though the lowest part of his body, like a duck's, it remained above the surface. Means he thought that he had gone right down like Rarji, but the lowest part of his body remained above the surface. Rarji, however, did not discourage him. He did not discourage the warrior. It was not bad, he said, but you need a lot of practice. He said that it was not bad, but he needed a lot of practice. Will you teach me? Asked his enemy. The warrior asked if you teach him. If you like, I will teach you. Rarji replied, if he liked, he would teach him. You must teach me. If you do not teach me, I will beat you. Will you come here every day and teach me? The warrior said, you must teach me. If you do not teach me, I will beat you. You should come here every day and you should teach me. If you like, said Rarji. They had pulled themselves out of the water and were sitting side by side on a smooth grey rock. Rarji replied that if he likes, then he would teach him, and after that both of them came out of the water, and they were sitting side by side on a smooth rock. My name is Surah, said the warrior. What is yours? It is Rarji. The warrior told his name, that he was Surah, and he asked the name of Rarji. Rarji also told that he was Rarji. I am strong, am I not? Asked Suraj, bending his arm so that a ball of muscle stood up, stretching the white of his flesh. Suraj means the warrior. He said that I was strong. Was he not? He bent his arms so that a ball of muscle stood up on his arms. You are strong, said Rarji. You are a real Pahalwan. Rarji replied that you are very strong. You are a real Pahalwan. One day I will be the world's champion wrestler, said Suraj, slapping his thighs, which shook with the impact of his hand. Suraj said that one day he would be the world's champion wrestler, the world's champion Pahalwan, and he looked critically at Rarji's hard, thin body. You are quite strong yourself, he conceded, but you are too bony. He looked critically at Rarji's hard and thin body. He looked towards Rarji. Rarji was not too fat, not too strong. He was thin, and he said that you are quite strong yourself. And he admitted that you are too bony. He admitted that he was too strong, but he said to Rarji that he was very thin. I know, you people do not eat enough. And he said that the people like you, he said to Rarji, that the people like you do not eat too much. You must come and have your food with me. The warrior Suraj, named Suraj, said that he should come and have his food with him. I drink one seer of milk every day. Seer, it is seer, it is equal to a liter. He said that he drinks a liter of milk every day. We have got our own cow. He also told that he has his own cow. Be my friend and I will make you a Pahalwan like me. Suraj said that just have friendship with me and he would make him a Pahalwan like him. I know if you teach me to dive and swim underwater, I will make you a Pahalwan. That is fair, isn't it? He said that if Razi teaches him to dive and to swim underwater, then he would make him a Pahalwan and asked if that is fair, isn't it? That is fair, said Razi, though he doubted if he was getting the better of the exchange. Razi also agreed that the agreement is fair, though he was doubting, though he had doubt if he was getting the better of the exchange. Suraj put his arms around the younger boy and said, we are friends now. Yes, Suraj, he put his arms around the younger boy, means that was Razi, and said that now they are friends. They looked at each other with honest, unflinching eyes, and in the moment love and understanding were born. Both of them looked at each other with honest and without blinking their eyes, and in that moment love and understanding both could be seen in the eyes of both the boys. We are friends, said Razi. Razi also agreed that they are friends. The birds had settled again in their branches, and the pool was quiet and limpid in the shade of the shal tree. The birds, they had sat again in their branches, and the pool was quiet and very clear in the shade of that sal tree. It is our pool, said Suraj. Nobody else can come here without our permission. Who dares? Suraj said that now this pool is not only mine, it is our pool and nobody else can come here without our permission. Who dare? Who dare? Said Razi. Razi also said, who would dare? Smiling with the knowledge that he had won the day. And he smiled, thinking that he had won that day. Okay? Means at last both of them reached the conclusion that fighting is not a solution of anything. We should settle our matter after talking. Fighting is not the only solution of anything. Okay? Students, this chapter is completed. Revise this chapter. Write the word meanings on the boards as well as the word meanings which are given in the book. And after that I will provide you the exercise and you should complete the exercise also. That's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.